Good morning once again to all of you. This is your course instructor Khushwant Fatnani. Let us start off with the session. So, dear all, once again a quick test. If you are able to clearly hear me, kindly raise your hand. We are continuing the topic revision for JEE and NEET 2020, and thank you very much, class. I can see that you all can clearly hear me. Thank you. So, in this topic, currently we are doing the chapter or the unit waves and oscillations. So, yesterday we had completed most part of the topic oscillations. Now, in this unit, the next part is waves. But before we proceed to it, there is a small topic that is forced, free, and damped vibrations. Just let's have a quick insight into it before we move to the next part, right? So, we are seeing the unit oscillations and waves. Now, let's see. Okay. Yeah, have a look. So, until yesterday, we learned that there is something called as SHM or simple harmonic motion, which is nothing but a kind of sine or cos varying function which varies with time, right? The displacement of which varies with time harmonically. And we understood that harmonically means as a sine or cos function of time, right? So we had plotted displacement on y-axis and time on x-axis and told that this is of the form x is equal to a sine omega t plus phi. So we had learned this, told that this x is displacement, a is amplitude, right? Omega is angular frequency, t is time, and phi, very important, phi is phase constant. Phi is phase constant. And then we also learned one important fact that this entire term which comes after sine is called phase. This is called phase. So phase is variable with time. See, phase is given by omega t plus phi. So this phi part remains constant, but this omega t parts will keep changing. Why? Because time is changing. Time is changing, right? So we learned this kind of basics. We saw what are the different relations like xt relation, vt relation, at relation, right? Then we also saw vx relation, right? Ax relation, ft relation, fx relation. We drew all the kind of different graphs yesterday, right? So this is a summary of the learning which we have had until now, right? A very quick summary. But we also learned something yesterday, or something which had to be introduced yesterday, that was three different kinds of oscillations exist. One are called free, right? The other are called damped, and the third part is called as forced. So what do I mean by all of this? I hope you all have read this. So your book NCRT, right, gives you a little bit of good instruction about all three of them, right? So these are different kind of oscillations that can happen. So right, these are different kind of oscillations that can happen: free, damped, and forced. Free oscillations are the ones which once triggered will keep happening with the same amplitude. Class, concentrate. I am saying free oscillations are the ones which will keep happening with the same amplitude once triggered. Let's say the amplitude is a, so here the displacement will be happening between a and minus a, right? And it will be something like this, right? So with a same amplitude, oscillation will keep happening. But what about damped? In damped oscillation, the dynamics change a little, and now we have the amplitude not same every time. It keeps on decreasing. It keeps on decreasing, right? And we say that this amplitude is decreasing exponentially. So suppose initially it was a naught, then it decreases this way, a naught power a naught into, pardon me, a naught into e power minus some function of time, right? So this is one way, this is just one way of telling the in decrease in amplitude, right? So it is e power minus bt, if I want to be very precise, e power minus bt by 2m. Class, please note this down. This is called as exponential decrease of amplitude with time in case of damped oscillations. Note it down, class. Right? Class, before we go ahead, there is one more, or before we practice things, there is one more formula or one more thing that we need to understand about forced oscillation. So what happens in case of forced oscillations is that in a forced oscillator, there is an external agency. I repeat, so there is an external agency which will keep giving its vibration to the main body we are talking about. Let's say you talk about, or a very commonly cited example. Let's take a commonly cited example. Suppose you are helping your friend enjoy a slide or a swing, right? Let's say your friend is sitting over here, right? And you are somewhere in the background, maybe here, right? So what you're doing is you're helping your friend. How are you helping your friend? By, so basically your friend is swinging on the swing, right, with some natural free vibrations, and whenever the swing goes on to stop, you are here, to push it again, right? So you are here to push it again regularly. So see what you're doing. I'll say in such a scenario that this swing was initially in the state of free or natural vibrations, or when only your friend was swinging. But as soon as you came into the picture, as soon as you came into the picture, this person, green one, if as soon as this person came into the picture and made sure that the swing is regularly swinging without stopping, right? Then such a vibration or the interference of an external agency in making sure that the vibrations continue is called as forced vibration. I'll repeat, when an external agency is involved, when an external agency when an external agency is involved in making sure that the vibration or the oscillation keeps taking place, then such an oscillation is called forced oscillation, right? And this is called as a forced oscillator. This is called as a forced oscillator. That is this person which is vibrating. Is like here, suppose we talked about a simple pendulum, then this one was called as a simple harmonic oscillator. Here, this is called as a forced oscillator. Please note this down, class. Please note this down. And now this oscillator will get a new amplitude. Jot this down. This new amplitude will be equal to, A is equal to, right? Suppose the force which you are supplying has an amplitude of f naught. So even this force, the force which you are applying to move your friend, that force is also in essence periodic in nature. Let's say that force has a value. So let's study this. So let's say the force which you are applying is F is equal to F naught sine omega t, right? This is the external periodic force. External periodic force which you are applying, okay, on your friends swing, on your friend's swing, right? So this is external periodic force. Now all I'm saying is, suppose a new amplitude is developed by a friend, right? Or the swing on which he's sitting is given by F naught. Everyone needs to write this. We need not remember everything, but you need to write this to understand what we are about to derive, right? So A is equal to F naught upon M times of under root, M times of under root omega square minus omega naught square plus b omega by m whole square, where what is b? What is b? B is that constant, which we had just talked about, that we had read, no? That here basically you will have two f's, right? One will be called as the restoring force, F is equal to minus kx. This is called as restoring force, right? And there is one more force called as minus bv. That is a force which is changing in magnitude because of the increasing velocity, right? So more is the velocity, higher is the opposing force. So both of these are, one is opposing force, one is restoring force, right? So kindly write this down, class. This is called as damping force. This force actually causes damping. So this was also acting over here in this case. Damping force was active, which was F is equal to minus BV. So this is the B over here, this one. We write over here B, no? So it comes from this equation. And this is mass. Of course, we know mass of the oscillator, right? So here in the second case, the oscillations of the oscillator were dying out, right? See here, the oscillations of the oscillator are dying out after some time, whereas for the free oscillations, they're taking place naturally without any change or decrease in the amplitude. Here in the forced oscillator, they try to decrease, but the external agency does not allow it, right? See here, here also there was some restoring force, there is some damping force, right? Here also there is some restoring force, there is some damping force, but at the same time, there is also something called as an external force, which is making sure that the oscillations keep happening, right? Now here omega naught, what is omega naught here? Omega naught, this F naught is the amplitude of force, right? I hope you all have seen it, right? What is omega naught? Omega naught is called as natural angular frequency, or sometimes just natural frequency. It is given by under root k by m, under root k by m. It's called natural frequency, right? So class, as you all were talking about resonance, etc. Do you remember? You all were talking about resonance, etc. So now we have A and we have omega. Okay, now let's say I want to plot a graph between A and omega. So this is the kind of graph I get. Here's A and here's omega, right? And the graph is of this sort. So I'll be very precise. right? So this way you have three kind of curves here, right? Out of which the first curve where the amplitude is trying to become of the maximum, is reaching a maximum point with omega, right? So this one, so we have three parts of it. This first one has the least damping. This will be said to have the least or smallest damping. The middle one will be said to have medium damping. Right? Then the third one will be said to have a larger damping. Class, I hope this point is becoming clear to all, right? Now, there are three different cases which can happen. Right? But one of the most important of all of them is resonance. Resonance is what? Resonance is when you are, see here, when you are pushing your friend with a certain frequency, right? When you're pushing your friend with a certain frequency, let's say omega, right? And the natural frequency of your friend's uh, like this oscillator or the swing or your friend is omega naught. I am saying you are pushing your friend with a frequency omega. Natural frequency of the friend is omega naught. Suppose by any chance omega and omega naught are very close to each other. If omega and omega naught are very close to each other, that is frequency of the external source and natural frequency. Omega is external frequency. So if by chance both of them become very close or nearly equal to each other, then you will have omega given as, or the relation between omega and omega naught, since they'll be very close to each other, you can say that they are almost equal to each other. We can say that they are almost equal to each other. In such a scenario, just substitute it over here in the equation. What do you get? Tell me. Yeah, tell me. So you have f naught by m, right? And this term will get cancelled because they're equal to each other. Yup. Tell me what the equation becomes. F naught by m whole by b omega by m, and then also here also you'll have m. Correct. So your force will be equal to, so this term m will go in the upward direction, or before that, yeah, we have an m here, we have an m here, this m will get cancelled, right? We can then write f naught omega by b. What is this? This is the value of the amplitude which happens when there is resonance, right? So write this here as a separate note. What is resonance? So resonance is a special condition of forced vibration. Write down here, everyone. What is resonance? Resonance is a special case of forced vibrations or forced SHM or forced oscillations, such that when does it happen? It happens only on one condition, when omega is equal to omega naught, that is the external frequency becomes equal to the natural frequency. In such a case, what happens? Resonance, right? And this resonance is given as, like, the amplitude at this time becomes maximum. Very important. The amplitude at such a time becomes maximum. The amplitude at such a time becomes maximum. Why am I saying maximum? See here. Here amplitude, just have a look here class. Amplitude is inversely proportional to omega, right? So if this term, the denominator becomes minimum, right? Denominator becomes minimum, then the amplitude will become maximum, correct? See here what's happening. So we have A is equal to F naught whole by M, right? Under root of omega minus omega naught whole square plus we have b omega by m whole square, right? Now class, have a look. So what I am saying is, if if this denominator becomes minimum, then this a will become maximum, right? Agreed? Now when can this become minimum? What is the minimum value of a squared number? Can any one of you tell? Atul, can you try this? What is the minimum value of a squared number? Let's say I talk you about 5 minus x whole square. Can you tell what should be its minimum value, Atul?
A zero, I think.
0, right? It cannot be negative. See, there can be three ways we can classify a number to be: minus, 0, and positive, right? If it could have been minus, then those would be the least value. But a square number can never be negative, right? So we delete this possibility.
Yes.
Now it can either be positive or 0. Now always we know that positive numbers are greater than 0. So therefore the minimum value of a square number or of a squared expression is 0. Very good, Atul. Excellent. So of a squared expression is 0. So it means that this entire denominator will assume a minimum value when omega and omega naught are equal, correct? That is, when
Yes,
omega
sir.
minus omega naught square is equal to 0, only then omega and omega can be equal, and therefore the denominator is maximum, assuming its minimum value. I'll repeat, class, what I'm saying. I am saying that in order for the denominator to become minimum, omega should be equal to omega naught. When it does, for denominator to be minimum, for denominator to be minimum, omega must be equal to omega naught. Therefore, omega minus omega naught whole square will become 0, right? Therefore, denominator will now be minimum. Denominator is now minimum. Now, as the denominator is minimum, the fraction a is now maximum, right? And that has a value. We just saw f naught upon m, b omega upon m. M's get cancelled. We have f naught omega by b. This is the max, therefore maximum value of amplitude, right? Mahila, is this point clear to you, Mahila? That how have we calculated maximum value of amplitude when the frequency of the source, right, or the frequency of the body is becoming equal to the frequency of the external agency? Is this point clear? I think there is some network issue at Mahila's end. No worries. Karuna, is this point clear to you? How did we
Yes,
go
sir.
here until here? That A max is equal to F naught omega by B. Could you hear this? Could you understand this well?
So how is it? It's F naught by B omega, right? So how it is F naught omega by B?
Once again, repeat your question.
So it's F naught by B omega, right?
Yeah. I think we had written it down here. So, okay. Yeah. Pardon me for this. Thank you very much for the attention. So it's F naught upon omega. Yeah, that was a calculation thing. Yeah, right. It happens sometimes. Yeah. Okay. Now is it fine? Thank you for the attention. Very good, Karuna. Excellent. Appreciated your attention. Appreciated. So is the otherwise is the concept clear, Karuna?
Yes, sir.
How about you, Anukriti? Is the concept clear for resonance for forced and damped vibrations?
Yes, sir.
Atul, is it clear for you too?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us solve a question before we jump into oscillations, right? So have a look. The question is from the year JE 2013. The question says the amplitude of a damped oscillator decreases to decreases to zero point 0.9 times, decreases to zero point 0.9 times its original magnitude in 5 seconds. In 5 seconds. This is what is given, right? In another 10 seconds, in next 10 seconds or another 10 seconds, it will decrease to, it will decrease to alpha times its original value, right? Find out what is alpha. Okay. So Anukriti, can you try this question? Yes, Anukriti. Or tell us the approach. Yes, go for it. If you want me to repeat the question says that a particular simple harmonic, a particular damped oscillator has its amplitude going from A to 0.9 A in 5 seconds, right? So in the next 10 seconds, it will decrease to alpha times its original value. What is alpha? Yes. Try. Yes, Anukriti.
So we substituted in the formula.
Yeah. Go ahead. What's the formula? Tell me.
A is equal to F naught by
A is equal to A naught. This is a damped case. See, this is a damped oscillator. So first of all, classify which case are we talking about? Are we talking about free oscillator or are we talking about damped oscillator or forced oscillator, right? So this is the case of
Okay.
damped vibration. What is the case, Anupriti? Damped
it
oscillator.
is damped vibration.
See the formula?
Yes, sir. A is equal to A naught e to the power minus b by 2m.
Pt by 2, right? Okay. So we
Yes,
have
sir.
A is equal to A naught into e power minus Pt by 2m. Correct? Right?
Yes, sir.
Now what we can do is let us take this b by 2m as some constant k. So we can write A is equal to A naught into e power minus kt. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Now see the two cases which are given. What is given in case number 1? In case number 1, value of A at any given time t is 0.9 times of its initial value, right?
Yes, sir.
We'll have point A is equal to zero point 0.9 times A naught, and here we'll have A naught into e power minus kt, correct?
K,
Or here
kt and
time
t
is
is
given
5.
as 5 seconds. Very good. So for the case 1, time is 5 seconds and A is equal to zero point 0.9 times A naught. So in this particular formula, we have substituted this expression, right? So
Yes, sir.
that gives us, let's see what it tells us, that uh, zero point 0.9 is equal to e power minus 5k, right? Now let's see what's the second case telling us. Second case is telling us after next 5 seconds, sorry, next 10 seconds.
10, sir.
What is the total time then? What is the total time?
15 seconds from the start.
Right. So absolutely 15 seconds from the start, we are being asked to find out what is the condition of the uh, amplitude.
Uh,
So A is equal to
yes.
e power minus kt into A naught is the expression, right? And we need to
Yes.
substitute instead of t 15, right? Because we need to find out how much time the amplitude changes at when the time is total 15 seconds from start. So we'll have A is equal to A naught into e power minus 15k,
K,
right?
K into 15.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
This will be A naught into e power minus, can we write this in terms of e power minus 5k, by the way, right? Cube of it,
Sir, I can't hear you.
right? E power minus,
Yes, sir.
see here, e power minus 15k can be written as e power minus 5k to the power 3, right or wrong?
Yes.
Right? So,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, we can.
So that is the transition that I'm bringing it here in the from first step to second one, correct? Now that all that
Yes,
we
sir.
have to do is substitute this expression over here to get the answer, right? So we have therefore
Okay.
A is equal to A naught into e power minus 15k given as A naught into e power minus 5k whole cube. Therefore, A naught into zero point 0.9 whole to the power 3, right? This brings us A naught into, I think 9 cube is 729. So we will have this as 0.729 times of A naught, right? So it means that the amplitude becomes 0.729 times of itself. I'll repeat, amplitude becomes 0.729 times of itself in 15 seconds or after next 10 seconds. After next 10 seconds. Are we clear with this? Anukriti,
Yes, sir.
we
Clear.
have, right? So we have amplitude becomes amplitude becomes 0.729 times of itself, right?
15 seconds.
Right, time in the next 10 seconds. So therefore alpha will be 0.729. Am I correct, Anukriti? Are we correct in this approach?
Yes.
Just
Yes, sir.
have a look once again at the entire process.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Atul, is the question clear to you now, Atul?
Yes, sir. So
Right?
can you explain again, sir, how it will, how the cube will go to the power?
See. So let's say, let's go back to the concept of exponentials. How do exponentials work? So let's say I have a number, Atul, a power 3, right? Now you do whole square of it. What will the answer be? Tell me.
6.
How did you do it? You did it by a rule
Okay, okay.
that a power
So
x
yes.
whole power y, whenever there, then the powers get multiplied with each other, right? The powers get multiplied with each other. Now we are
Yes, yes,
using the
yes.
same approach here. You have a naught, a is equal to a naught into e power minus kt, where we are saying that at t is equal to 5, a is equal to zero point 0.9 times of its initial value. Once given this, all we have done is write here this condition, get the expression as 0.9 into a naught is equal to a naught into e power minus 5k. Getting this, what the final expression came out to be e power minus 5k is equal to zero point 0.9, right? Now this was case 1. Case 2 told us if time is equal to 15 seconds, right, or 10 seconds later, how much times the amplitude is of its initial value. How much time the amplitude is of its initial value. That is, let it be alpha times of its initial value. So find out what alpha is. What did we do? we again wrote the expression A is equal to A naught into e power minus kt, where k is b by 2l. Right? Let's keep that at aside. Now let us substitute the values again. All we did is writing instead of e power minus kt, just instead of t, I substituted 15. So we had the expression e power minus 15k. Now we had e power minus, this 15k can be written as e power minus 5k whole cube, just the way this expression was true over here. Are we now clear, Atul, the approach? How did we come to this step?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Pakka?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we had this one is a naught into e power minus 5k whole cube, and this e power minus 5k is nothing but 0.9 from the expression which we had obtained over here. See here. So there we had got e power minus 5k is 0.9. So you have a naught into 0.9 power 3. Therefore, a naught into 0.729. Right? Clear, Atul?
Yes, sir.
So, if this question is clear to all of you, please raise your hand. Yes. Atul, Anukriti, Karuna, Mahila. Yeah. Please go ahead and raise your hand if the question which we just discussed is clear to all of you. Yep. Okay, great. Thank you, class. You can bring your hands down. You can bring your hands down. Right. So, class, now finally, let us begin with the chapter waves. Right. It is also a part of the same unit, oscillations and waves. Right. So, we understood about oscillations. Now we are understanding about waves. Why I was saying to revise again and again is because this chapter waves has a very close link with the chapter oscillations. What link will become eventually very clear as we focus on it. So that is very imperative in understanding the chapter well and in being able to answer its questions properly. So as I told, from the year uh, around, so I should say 2002, telling you about the distribution again from the year 2002 to the year 2019, right? This time has seen nearly 107 questions. 107 questions from this unit. So if on an average, if you want to see the average, it's in 17 years, we have had 107 questions, right? In 17 years, this unit has seen 107 questions. So on an average, can you tell me, anyone, how many questions per year? It's, tell me, anyone? Atul,
Oh, I think 6 questions per year.
around six
6 or
questions.
6 to 7.
Yeah, around 6 questions. So the average exactly comes out to be 0.6.29, right? Let us take this as off. So we have nearly 6 questions coming every year from this unit. Therefore, I was telling that this unit is super important and we'll focus it on it very well, right? Because every question is then earning you huge amount of uh, credits or marks, right? So the topic is very simple, right? So this was the distribution, right? As we go for every chapter, we see what's the distribution in past year's paper. So this is the distribution. Please make sure you have a note of distribution so that you can accordingly focus your attention on every chapter, right? Now, telling you about what is the chapter containing, right? So according to NCERT and the specifics of it, this chapter starts with the concept, what is a wave? what are different kinds of wave, right? That is some basic facts. So the chapter begins with some basic facts like wave motion, right? It talks about what wave motion is, how does a wave travel, right? What different kinds of waves are, right? So it talks about different kinds of waves like transverse and longitudinal wave. Transverse and longitudinal waves. So it talks about different kinds of waves, right? Then the chapter deals with the concept, what are the kind of waves? So it talks about longitudinal wave, transverse wave, and also it talks about speed of mechanical waves. So it talks about speed of mechanical waves. And what are mechanical waves? Very important, right? So speed of, I'll just write speed of waves, right? Then it talks about the same displacement time relation, which we had read for SHM. Similar kind of expression comes between X and T. Or I'll better write this as, here, let's say we denote displacement by Y. So Y, X, T, or displacement relation. We see that. Then for this chapter, we understand that what are the different characteristics of sound. Several questions are based on intensity, etc. come from this part. Characteristics of sound. Like intensity, amplitude, how much will amplitude change at this distance, that distance, such kind of questions, right? Then this chapter talks about the principle of superposition, principle of superposition of waves. That is two waves coinciding, two waves coinciding. That is what the concept is, right? Superposition of waves. So there are different conditions the waves can superimpose, right? So each condition can produce a different effect. So the effects are as under. Three things can happen whenever two waves in two waves superimpose. One is interference. One is interference. One of the most crucial conditions for interference to take place is that the frequency of the two waves should be super equal to each other. Omega values for both the waves should be equal for them to superimpose and interfere. This is the necessary condition for interference to take place. Then there is one more condition, that is condition of standing waves. This can also happen when two waves intersect or two waves superimpose. Standing waves, and these are also called as stationary waves. And when does a stationary wave form? A stationary wave forms when two waves are traveling in the opposite direction and they have same amplitude and omega values. When two waves have same amplitude and omega values and they are traveling or they are coming to each other, right? Not necessarily their amplitudes may be same, sometimes amplitude may be different also, but yeah, this is the general scenario which is observed, right? That when a wave is coming from one side, another wave is coming from another side, in such a scenario, this phenomena happens, that is stationary waves happen. And again, very important, for stationary waves to build, as I just told, A and omega should be same. At the same time, the most necessary condition is that waves should be coming from opposite directions. And generally this happens as a result of reflection. A wave was going somewhere, right? A surface came in between and it got reflected. So the wave which is already coming and the wave which got reflected, both of them superimpose, and there, that is how a stationary wave is formed. Why is it called stationary wave? Because it is not progressive. See, there are two kind of waves again. There are two kind of waves again. One are called progressive wave. Progressive wave is a wave which is moving from one location to another. I will repeat. There are two kinds of waves. One is progressive, right? Then the others are standing or stationary. So when a wave is stationary or standing, it is not progressing. Very simple, right? The wave is standing or it is not progressing. Generally, when is it formed? It is formed as a result of reflection. One surface was there due to which the already coming wave coincided, got reflected, right? And the new waves which are coming from this side, both of them will superimpose and form a standing wave, correct? Then, on a similar note, there is a phenomena called as beats. There is a phenomena called as beats. So for beats to happen, again, there is a rule on it. For beats to happen, the two frequencies of the waves which are coinciding with each other should be very close to each other. The two frequencies of the waves which are uh, coinciding or which are very, just a second, I'll just show it here. So if the frequency of the two waves are very close to each other, in such a case, beat is formed, right? And we say that the beat frequency is the difference of two waves or frequency of two waves which are superimposing. So if the frequency of the two waves are nearly equal, not exactly equal, here see in interference they should be exactly equal. But if they are not exactly equal but nearly equal, this is nearly equal, then beats are formed. Also, class, here the amplitude may or may not be equal. Amplitude may be equal, amplitude may not be equal, right? Both cases interference is valid, but omega value should be same. Here frequency should be nearly equal. Frequency should be nearly equal, right? Frequency should be nearly equal. Correct? So is this point clear to all of you? Right? And at the end of this chapter, there is one more topic which comes, and that topic is Doppler effect. Very easy, very simple questions are there from this chapter which appear in your exams, and make sure that you very easily get score the entire marks for this chapter. Right? Class, I'll repeat again. Point 1, basic facts. Point 2, transverse longitudinal waves. Point 3, speed of the waves. Point 4, different kinds of waves. Progressive waves and standing waves. Next point. Here also we see how the displacement varies. See here, class. Initially, for SHM, what did we see? For an SHM, we saw that the displacement was varying with time, right? In a wave, we will see that the displacement y is varying with both. I'll repeat, displacement y is varying with both time and x, right? Time and x, with both y is varying. That is called a wave. That is called a wave relation, right? Then we learn about, or we'll revise the characteristics of sound. In this chapter, we have three different things coming up. One is called interference, the other is called standing waves, and third is called beats. When do these three things come? When two waves superimpose. When two waves superimpose, right? Or coincide. So when two waves are coinciding or superimposing, interference will take place when their frequencies are exactly equal to each other, and we're talking about angular frequencies here, right? And of course, if the angular frequencies are equal, frequencies are also equal. Now, because omega is 2 pi f, right? Now, second scenario is stationary waves. A stationary wave is formed when a and omega are same, but at the same time, very important that the wave should be traveling in opposite directions, correct? Here, beat is formed when the frequencies are nearly equal to each other, right? You will get to know the specifics as we build across, like as we move ahead in this chapter, right? So class, I'll be sending you all some list of important formulas from this chapter, right? Not questions, but important formulas, right? First important formulas, and then we will take up some more beautiful questions from this chapter, right? Although not all, let's say if we have done until now 15 or 20 questions, right? So maybe from around 100 questions, let's say we have done 20. So although we'll not do the all questions from this chapter, but yes, we'll try to cover maximum number of concepts which are asked every year, correct? So class, then I'll send you the formulas, right? I'll send you the formulas, and if possible, if I think it's feasible and important, I'll also send you the questions. So then we will accordingly consider those questions and then work on them this evening, right? So let us meet this evening and work with the work with this chapter, right? Work with this chapter. Cool. Okay, class. Then let's meet up today evening at 3:45, right? 3:45. Let's catch up and then continue with this chapter. I'll send you a list of formulas and, if possible, some questions so that we can work on them and see how we solve questions. All right. So, anything else anyone wants to convey? Let me know. Anybody of you wants to convey anything? Just let me know. So we have Anukriti, we have Karuna, we have Mahila, Atul with us. Yes, Mahila, your hand is raised. Let me know. Anything you want to ask or convey? Okay. Class, if whatever we read today, if whatever we read today, I'll do a quick revision of it. So we started from, see here, we started from a quick gist into whatever we have read until now. Then we saw three kind of vibrations, free vibrations. Until now, whatever we have read until yesterday, all of them are free vibrations, right? This is the form of free vibration. Now, today we read about damped and forced vibrations. We learned what damped vibrations are, what forced vibrations are, correct? Then after this, we saw how vibrations get damped, or how uh, uh, and how, see here, this external periodic force prevents the damping, right, by giving it a larger or external support, right? And there is a special case we saw which is called resonance, right? So in resonance we saw that it is a special case of forced vibration, such that it happens when the natural frequency and the externally applied periodic frequency become equal to each other. Then we saw that in such a scenario, amplitude becomes maximum, right? And the value of that maximum amplitude is F naught upon omega B, correct? Now, we saw a question where the amplitude was changing from 9 to zero point 0.9 in 5 seconds. We were told that in next 10 seconds, what will be, how much time will the amplitude be of its initial value? So we also saw the answer to this question, right? Simple and tricky at the same time. Then we saw the chapter, introduction to the chapter oscillations and waves. How is this chapter distributed? And some key concepts that will be a part of the explanation, right? So from here, let's continue in the evening session, right? So thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot. Thank you for being a part of the session. Let us start off in the evening today and continue with this chapter, a very important chapter. That is why we are giving a lot of importance to it, right? So thank you all for being a part of the session. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you, Anukriti. Thank you, Mahila. Thank you, Atul. Thank you, Karuna. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for being a part of the session.